Hello and welcome to just a quick bit of fun. This is not a serious WoW dungeon or raid guide or anything. I was just derping around in the Undercity and saw people asking for Yogg Saron, 25 man, with one watcher, which is the second hardest mode you can have. And I thought I would do that and show it off because Yogg Saron is awesome. He is the awesome final boss of the awesome Wrath of the Lich King raid Ulduar, which was one of my favourite raids ever, second only to Karazhan, which wins just because it was the first one I ever did. So, don't expect seriously good play here, we're all just pugs, we're sort of derping around, relying on our level 85ness to sort of carry us through it. This first phase though, when we have this Sara person, what you have to do is fight off these mobs that you can see, and when they die, they explode into gassy cloud of doom, and you have to kill. Well, no, that purple cloud of doom. You saw it. Those ones with all the blobs. If you do that near Sara, then it does damage to her. So you have to kill them near Sara, and as you can tell by the chat, not everyone is, but that's fine. We're level 85. Though just in case this looks stupidly easy, I'll remind you that we are indeed level 85. At level 80, when this raid was current, you'd be expected to have around 26,000 health or somewhat. Many of us are falling far, far below 26,000 health, so if we were doing this at the proper level, this would have been like a 2-second wipe. Anyway, Sara, I do believe, has been... Yes, there we go, we have unveiled her true form. 'Tis that of Yogg Saron, the god of death. And, you know, the footage that you're seeing here will pale in comparison to what it once was, but this, in theory, was one of the best fights they'd ever done. I say in theory because I never got to do it at the time. The furthest I got at level 80 was the Watchers, Hodir, Freya, Thorin, Mimiron. Never got past those. I'd always kill some combination of those each week, but the guild I was in at the time never managed to get all 4 of them down on the same week because we didn't have a consistent group, so some weeks we'd wipe, some weeks we'd do fine, that sort of thing. But, you know, I've seen Yogg Saron, I studied him gleefully back when it was going on because I loved the raiding scene back then. I still do, but now with the looking for raid feature, I'll just go do it, rather than having to look at wikis and YouTube videos and squee and think, gosh, that can never be me. Because now it can be me. Go raid finder. But yes, so what's going on now is that Sara thing of his is firing lasers of doom. He has tentacles that are just sort of doing their doomy thing, like you can see him swinging someone around. And he's driving us all slowly insane. With Freya not with us, that would be irreversible. With Freya, who is with us, we've got these green beams of light that we can stand in order to get rid of our insanity, which would make things much easier. I'm sure that without that, this even level 85 pug would have been wipe central. Now, as you can see, at the minute, Yogg Saron has been stunned and a group have gone into his brain to go and give it a beating. I wish I could have shown you that, but it's not my place to be in there, sadly, but I'll let you know. There you go, they've done their work and now they've been spewed out, but the brain, it's rather cool. You go to this room that has his brain in it, which is sort of blue and transparent, and there are 1 of 3 different lore moments you can see while you're there. You can see Deathwing creating the dragon soul along with all the other dragon aspects, with the implication that Yogg Saron, or just old gods in general, were behind his corruption. In fact, the old god behind his corruption is an old god called N'Zoth, who currently lives in the Maelstrom. We haven't met him personally yet. The other lore moment you can see is the assassination of King Lothar, I think it is, or King Anduin. Just sorry, the first king of Stormwind in Warcraft 1 was assassinated by Garona Half-Orcan, who is a half-orc woman, and was designed back in the days when Blizzard were bad at names. But she wasn't corrupted by an old god, I don't think. She's still got her own free will, but there was some stuff going on there that made her be forced to do it when she didn't really want to, and yeah. The assassination of their king was quite important, and it seems like Yogg Saron, or just the old gods in general, had a hand in that. And what is the third lore moment? Ah yes, the third lore moment you can see is the Lich King torturing Bolvar 4 dragons. That's actually something that's going on right now as of the storyline of this raid, as we see the net results of that in Icecrown Citadel 2 raids later. It's not... I don't think it's implied that Yogg Saron actually has anything to do with that, beyond that... Well, the Lich King's tower, Icecrown Citadel, is made entirely out of Saronite, which is Yogg Saron's blood, so I guess he just feels attached to things that are going on there. But yeah, as you can see, in the fight, it's pretty cool. Even, I have to say, even though we're over-leveled and it's negligibly easy, this was still cool, just to come here, witness the awesomeness that is Yogg Saron, have a run around. Because that's the problem I've found with proper up-to-date hardcore raiding, you know, hard modes, all of that. You never really get to focus on all the awesomeness that's going on because you've turned the game sound off, you're listening to people scream at each other in vent, you're having to do stuff. Well, yeah, you're having to do much stuff, chatting, venting. You don't get to hear Yogg Saron's cool voice acting or the cool music. Most of the time you don't even get to pay attention to what's actually going on the screen. You're having to look at all of your various add-ons and your bars and your buffs and your bibbles and your bobbles. Okay, we're on phase 3 now. It's quite simple. When he laughs like an absolute boss and zaps us all with that purple stuff, you have to look away. You have to look away. Sorry. Pardon me. So, looks like Yogg Saron's going to go down. He just opened his mouth wide. I didn't realise he could do that. I thought that was cool. But, yeah. It looks like it's pretty smooth, but never underestimate just quite how hard Lich King hard modes were. Wrath of the Lich King, in general, has a reputation for being really, really easy. And I think that was because of Naxxramas, the very first raid they had in that expansion, which really was way too easy, and it just put a bad taste in people's mouth that still pervades to this day. But once they started rolling out hard modes, they were hard mode, and as you can see, even our mighty level 85 army is starting to crumble beneath the power of Yogg Saron, even though we have, like, at least 5 times the health we should have, but for this fight. But yeah, shit, it's going down, it's all getting a bit messy. These immortal thingies, his minions, as their name suggests, they actually cannot die, so that makes this rather cool. I imagine it must have been brutal at level 80, but there you go! I die. Tragically, I was but 1 millisecond away from retirement because Yogg Saron died at pretty much the exact same time I did. But, yeah, so this wasn't a proper let's run the WoW dungeons, it wasn't a proper let's do a WoW raid, it was because it's only one boss, it wasn't a guide or anything. This was just me being opportunistic. I thought I would film what was a very cool boss, and what still is a very cool boss. Yogg Saron will always be cool, Ulduar will always be cool, and my dear WoW players, if you are level 85, or I guess level 80, and you find yourself in the opportunity to join an Ulduar raid, even though the people you're running with will mostly be terrible, I advise you to go for it because Ulduar is beautiful. Thank you for watching, I will see you later.